Hello and welcome back to Dicebreaker, where today we played Masters of the Night, which is a game about vampires. It's a cooperative challenge for 1 to 5 vampiric lords in which they are attempting to take over a seedy city and make it their sort of hub of blood-sucking activity. This is a Kickstarter game which we are previewing. The Kickstarter goes live this week. I'm not sure if it will already be live by the time this video goes out.
I believe so.
But we'll have a, pardon me, a link in the description. Oh, the vampiric death has got its hold on me.
Too much blood this morning.
Yeah, that'll be it. Right, so we played this with Alex Meehan.
We did.
So we did a 3-person game. You can have as many vampires as you like, as long as you've got enough where at least 1 per player, and then you can divvy the rest of them up. Or sort of like collectively like control the ones that aren't being played with.
Yeah.
So when Meehan couldn't finish off the game, we ended up sort of just taking control of her character, which is a pretty standard thing for like co-op games, but it's balanced around the amount of vampires that are playing rather than the amount of players that are playing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't read the rules, so I trust you. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember how this works.
You don't remember anything about this game. Let me tell you how to play. So each game, you're going to be selecting from, I think there's like 5 or 6 sort of like playable characters. Based on the amount that you take, you will grab the one that sort of matches the amount of vampires, and that will tell you how many agents to sort of like put in a pile, a pool. You're also going to get that many dice times 2. So if we had 3 vampires playing, then we would have 6 dice, which we will roll.
Oh, that was a terrible roll.
It is a terrible roll because your rolls are sort of like fixed. And these are what you're going to be spending on the actions that you're doing. So I've got 4 1s, which is pretty much as bad as it gets. So during the day phase, you're going to be activating locations around the map based on who controls them. So, for example, control here is split because we have 1 red, which is our minion, and 1 white character, which is our like enemies, the agents. So, if there are more minions than agents in this district, then we can expose all agents in any single district. But because it's a tie, we won't be able to do that. Whereas, if we go to, for example, the asylum, you'll have like an if-and statement of if there are more minions, then you do this. If there are more agents, then you do this. Yeah. So by having control of a district, you get to do special things each turn. Those will all happen. All of the agents, if they amass their forces, so if there's like 3 of them in one district,
they attack you.
They will attack anyone who's there. And those won't move around. They'll just stay where they are. Although we can sort of draw them with us, I think, in certain ways. Then we go through to the night phase, where we can activate locations still, but using our action points. We will get 2 action points, and you can also do any of the actions that you have on your little character sheet here. The main thing that you want to be doing is murdering agents. Pretty
much, yeah, because that brings up your kill count. So you want to get to 9 kill counts. And then
9 kill counts?
9 kills.
1 kill!
It's been a long day. Yeah, you want to get to 9 kills, and then you need to put this, what are these called again?
Sigils.
Sigils on the board somewhere, which gives you little advantages or just little things that you can do. But essentially you need to all get to 9 kills, get your sigils somewhere on the board, and then what do you need to do?
You need to like meet in one district with 1 minion with you per vampire.
Player, yeah.
Because I think you're going to be feasting on them essentially, and then you need to sort of enact the ritual of the moon or blood moon or something like that.
We didn't get to that point because we lost.
We lost pretty hard. The way that this works, so this is a prototype. So the sort of bits that we've got in here aren't final, thankfully. But we've got sort of like a deck of cards, which are essentially like our events. So based on what sort of phase you're in, you'll have them sort of stacked on top of each other. So like we'll go from phase 1 all the way down to phase 3, where the cards are covered in blood, which is a bit of fun. But they're going to tell you where to place new agents, and you'll basically just follow the guide here. So you'll start with the veil at 6, but then it will go down as like people start to discover you and you take damage. So if the veil goes too low, then we start adding more agents than we would do. And if it goes too low all the way down to the bottom, then we lose the game. Oh, pardon me, I've got the hiccups. It is way too much blood in my system. But essentially, we're going to try and keep that veil up, do the 3 steps, which is everyone gets 9 kills, everyone places their sigil, and everyone spawns a minion, and then we sort of meet in the middle to bathe in blood and kill all the humans and subjugate them, which is really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the start, I think we were sort of like a bit lukewarm on it. But as we played, we were sort of like, oh, this is pretty cool, actually.
I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we didn't obviously win the game. We got to the point of the game where it's like the level 2 cards. And those were already getting quite difficult because all of them, no, not all of them, the majority of them anyway, kind of got attached to a player or got, kind of stayed out and had a lasting effect, which made things quite difficult for us. And so I don't even know what the level 3 ones do, but it got quite difficult. And obviously, it was our first game, so I think the next time we play it,
oof, yeah, no, these are
very
horrible.
different, really.
So, yeah, okay, so I just pulled one out at random just to have a look. So there's a deck of cards called relics, which are basically like equipment that you can give yourself, and I've just placed one at the top there for you to have a look at. But when you flip these over, you'll get sort of cool new abilities. So like you've got this urn, which will allow you to do special things in the night phase and stuff like that. Or you might come across a pipe of a trickster. Spend 1 AP to decrease the veil, but then move agents around the board and stuff like that. So they're pretty handy. This event, you place your agents based on how many veil points you still have left, and then return all cards left in the relic deck to the box, consumed by flames. I.e., you can no longer get any relics, which is pretty mad.
That is,
Yeah, so like basically, as you go through the event deck, things get worse and worse and worse and worse. So the box essentially tells you, like, you need to get this ritual kicked off quick before it just becomes too much to bear.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a race against time.
So even in our 3-player game, I think I got to 9 kills. You were...
I think I was the first at 9 because I was doing most of the slugging.
I think both of us were at 9 and
then Mia was being a bit more sort of like spawning minions and
yes,
stuff like that.
Yeah, which was very helpful, but it meant that it kind of slowed her kill count down. Yeah, but then you see on these cards, so this is one of these level 1 cards, you see there's a number of different X's, and essentially the red X is you place 2 agents.
2 agents.
And then you pick one of these other spots to put 1 agent down. And so that's kind of nice because in this case, we may not want to put a 3rd agent down here because then they actually start attacking us when there's a minimum of 3. So we might want to put them down here. But we had the case when we were playing where there was a choice, for example, putting them in the asylum or somewhere else. And we had a terrible time with the asylum because essentially if there's more agents than there's minions in there, they all get drawn, drags one in or something. So we were trying as much as we could to kill them off and also not to have them there in the first place. So this is quite an interesting mechanic in the game is being able to decide this to a certain extent.
It's nice that it sort of gives you a little bit more agency over the things that are usually sort of random chance in these kind of games. Like the most sort of classic example is Pandemic, where like cubes will get placed based on which ones you draw. And I think like a lot of co-op games nowadays are sort of based on that system. But in Pandemic, if you just draw the bad card, you're screwed, soz. Whereas in this, you're like, oh, that was close, like, but we could probably put that there instead. But if we put it there, then this will happen.
Yeah.
So then you've got like an actual discussion to have rather than sort of things just happening at you like they would in something like Arkham Horror or something like that. What was also really nice is that this kill count is not just like a thing that you have to fill up. You'll actually unlock new abilities as you go through. So, for example, you get to sort of like 1 kill and suddenly you can like hunt and get blood back, which is like your health. You get to 2 kills and suddenly you can start equipping relics. And then if you get all the way to like 6 kills and you unlock your special ability. And everyone has their own sort of base ability which they can spend their life points on as well. And then once you get all the way to level 9, everyone's got their own unique sigil. So this is one for the purple character, which is Istvan. So for example, when starting the night in this district, vampires gain extra AP, which means that if you could pop that right in the middle, it means that everyone just sort of convene in the police department, and then that means you can sort of get to anywhere and still have your full turn and stuff like that. They all have their own sort of way of playing. Like, so if I just grab another one, so we've got Laszlo here, which is this guy in blue, who's like the big heavy hitter. When hunting in this district, vampires gain 3 blood instead of 1, which is massive.
Wow, yeah.
So like those are really, really useful, and it's like one of the last things that you do just before you do the ritual. So it gives you like that sort of like second wind of like, oh, we've got these special powers to unlock now. So it had like a really nice sort of like narrative arc to it. I thought.
Yeah, I really liked it, and also the fact that like obviously we've got it set up like this, and I think this is quite similar to how we, if not exactly the same, of how we had it set up the last time. But obviously you can set this up in any configuration, and that's kind of where this comes in, this being like, these are just random places, but then at the bottom of the cards it'll also tell you one very specific place to add them. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. There was, I think at the beginning we were a bit like, oh god, there's a lot, but there wasn't really, maybe we were just tired, but I would definitely like to play this again, and I think even the way it is now, it's pretty much there for me. Like I think they could probably spruce up a couple of things, but
I really love the art style, actually. I think it's really nice. It's got that sort of like Sin City style, sort of black and white apart from the red.
Yeah.
But I really love this sort of like newspaper aesthetic of like just all the cards of like these little stories. And if you actually like look at the text, they've actually like, I mean, they've got Lorem Ipsum right now, but like in certainly some bits, there's like bits where they've actually sort of written things out, which is quite cool. But even just the fact that it's a newspaper headline is telling you like how many vampires you're playing with, and then it's sort of like scribbled underneath with a biro 11 agents to tell you how many things to put down, which is like a nice little touch. And like all mysterious relics on display at the museum, it's actually like the backs of the cards to get those relics, which is a really cool aesthetic, I think. The character designs were a bit sort of, they didn't really excite me very much. Like Laszlo's just like a big buff dude with a stupid fedora on. But yeah, apart from that, like it's a really cool thing, and it's like even just having that sort of binary of red and white makes it really clear to see like where you've got your minions and where the agents are most prevalent and stuff like that. They've got this whole thing of the agents sort of work from the shadows just like you do.
Yes.
So you need to spend an action to expose them before you can attack them.
So they'd be like this, kind of hooded, and then to expose them, you just flip them, and then you can kind of attack them, I guess.
So you're kind of like, if you fight them on your terms, it takes more action points from you. Whereas if they fight you on their terms, you have to choose the lowest die result. So what's interesting about the dice is you roll them, you have to use them all before you get to re-roll them. A 5 or a 6 will give you a clean kill. A 3 or a 4, will give you a kill, but you lose a health. And then a 1 or a 2, you lose a health and don't get the kill. Yeah. So if you have to, like,
it was really harsh.
If you got attacked right now by 4 agents, we would take 4 health and not get a single kill because we've got 4 ones.
Yeah.
So districts like, for example, I think it is the... is it this one? Yeah, so like the railway station, if you've got more minions than there are agents there, you can increase one of the dice by 2, which will give you a better chance of like actually getting a kill out of them, stuff like that. So yeah, it's really interesting.
The minions are really interesting as well, actually, because you can summon, it's one of your like really basic things, recruit a minion, which gives you +1 on the surveil counter, which if it goes down to 0, like you're
like
dead.
Group
That's
health, essentially,
so minions are quite important in the game because obviously you've got this whole thing of like whoever's got the majority, other minions or agents in certain areas, you get certain things. You can also take minions with you though and use them in like battles. So I could use 1 minion to get rid of 1 agent instead of using one of the dice, which makes them really quite powerful and really interesting addition as well. Because they come up in several different ways throughout the game.
And it was also quite interesting that you had to like, if you sacrifice the minions, not only are you losing sort of like territorial sort of rights on here, but also if you don't do that, then you're going to find it a lot harder to actually kill the agents because you're sort of relying on the dice rolls. Yep. And if your agents are sort of like spreading out across the board, you have a finite amount. So that's why it says 11 agents specifically are in the supply, because if you try to place an agent and you don't have one, it takes away from the veil instead. Yeah. So it's not just a case of like, oh, cubes are just being placed everywhere, and then like, oh, every now and again you're like, oh, we're running a bit low on cubes. It's actually like, oh god, we're always up against the wire. Like, if we don't kill at least 2 here, then we're going to suffer veil damage. Yeah. You've always got like an idea of the sort of metrics that you're working with, and oh, is that card going to be a a special one where it says place an extra one in the text, because that will really screw us over and that kind of thing. Yeah.
I knew when we played this game that I liked it, but actually us talking about it now makes me remember how much I like it. And I'm really excited and I really want to play it again.
Yeah, so this is coming out on Kickstarter this week, so if you're interested in it, then it's available to back.
As always.
Yeah, Kickstarters are weird. We don't always endorse them like fully. This is not a review. This is just a preview, like our sort of first thoughts. There could be glaring issues in this when it actually comes to print. We just don't know because it's a Kickstarter. So like, just to be very clear, we're not endorsing this and saying that you should go and Kickstart it. This is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
It's always a bit of a gamble. I'm not sure about the actual publisher of this, if they're sort of like someone with a bit of a proven record. I don't recognise the logo, so I wouldn't be able to speak on that front. But pretty promising and pretty cool. And of course, the nice thing about Kickstarters is eventually it will just be available in shops anyway. So if you don't mind waiting, there you go, easy peasy. But yeah, that is Masters of the Night, a cooperative challenge for 1 to 5 vampires.
And I don't like co-op games, and I really like this.
Yeah,
so.
And it was very much like obviously you always have your own actions in co-op games, but then the whole quarterbacking thing is someone just sort of telling you what to do.
Yeah.
In this, there was never like a really clear path to it's like, well, what should I do? And then it's like, well, I don't know, man, it's your character. I think that's why, because like everyone was like, I don't want to be involved. Like it was almost like reverse quarterbacking.
Yeah, I think if there was ever like any suggestions, it was like, actually, yeah, that's probably a better idea, or like it just kind of, it was more of a discussion all around, and there was never really a point where somebody was like, you do this, and this, and this. And I think for me, at the end of the day, that's the problem with co-op. Some co-ops is that it's easy to do that, but I think in this game it's not that easy to do that. If there was someone around the table who would,
even just the fact that like the special powers that everyone had, they both have a cost. So like your normal one costs like half of your health.
Yeah.
If it's like a powerful one like this one, and then your second one costs 1 veil as well. So
which
like,
is a group thing.
Yeah, like using them is not always like the obvious thing. If you've got something like Pandemic, where it's like, oh, you're the doctor, so you go clean up the stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's very much like, oh, well, I have to do this. Everyone's good at combat. Everyone's doing like most of the things to like a decent standard. But you've got this special thing. It's like, oh, should I just gamble?
Yeah. Like
I could be in a bad spot, and we might lose a bit of veil down the line. But this is a really powerful thing, and there's always something to talk about.
Well, something we didn't mention is you don't really die in the game. So if we lost all of our blood, what happens to your character is that you actually flip over.
You become drained.
You become drained, yeah. So on your next turn, what happens is you kind of earn 1 blood, I think, automatically, isn't it? And you become undrained. But then you take your turn as normal. But there's certain things that you can't do if you're drained, and I actually can't remember what
I think
they were.
when you by taking that blood because you become drained, you then lose a point on the veil. So it's like another way of that going down. And there's only 6 marks on that. So like if it's constantly being hit. And another thing that we didn't talk about with the event cards, this was actually really interesting, was that there were sort of permanent effects that you had to deal with.
We kind of mentioned it. I said from level 2 there was a few that kind of.
Oh, sorry, I might have missed that.
Around.
Yeah, but like so for example, there's Night of the Demons. So whenever a vampire would move out of a district with an agent, move 1 agent along with them. At the end of any night phase, if there are more minions than agents in the police department, then you get to discard this card and increase the veil by 1.
Yeah, so agents being the bad guys.
Yeah, it gives you like a mini objective, and it's like it allows you to sort of take like an alternative approach, because usually it's like, oh well, we've got no veil point, so I have to summon a minion. But now it's like, well, what if we do some trickery and get somebody in the police department? Now we've got another way of looking at that, and suddenly we've sort of spared ourselves a few action points. Yeah. But yeah, really interesting, worth a look.
Really different, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's got like some familiar elements, but like I've not seen that sort of like cooperative area control almost. It's really interesting.
Good way of explaining it.
So that is Masters of the Night. You can have a look at that on Kickstarter. We'll have a link in the description. As we said, back at your own risk. We are not endorsing this product. We're just saying that it looks pretty cool, and we're looking forward to seeing the full release of it.
Yes.
For any more videos like this one, you can click this big round subscribe button right here on the bottom of the screen. Or you can click on one of the videos that Alex Lolies just ate to have a look at some of the other stuff that we've had a look at in the past. We do Let's Plays, we do RPGs, all kinds of stuff. On this channel, it's not just reviews and previews. And click on that bell icon, because then you'll get a little lovely notification when you get a subscriber new video. Isn't that fun? Not only that, we've got Dicebreaker.com for loads of written articles as well from our fantastic editorial team. But that's been us for this one. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks very much for watching, and have a lovely vampiric day!